Hi, it's Dulcie Crawford here at the Dulcie Crawford Group, Simply Vegas Real Estate. And I want to cover how a seller can cooperate to get a smoother transaction in a residential real estate transaction. And after many years in being in real estate, I've worked with lots of sellers. And I find that there's certain areas in the closing process where the seller may not realize that they're probably not cooperating as quickly as they should, or maybe they're just not understanding the importance of certain parts of the requirements of certain type documents or contingencies. And so I'm going to cover a couple of them today that I think can make a huge difference in making sure that your transaction moves forward smoothly and successfully, right? Because everybody worked really hard to get it under contract now. And so it's a lot of wasted time and energy if we can't get it closed. So when we first open the escrow, it's super important that we have a very clear seller's real property disclosure report. The SRPD is what it's called. And your agent should have worked with you prior to getting under contract. I mean, when you actually took the listing, they should have had you walk through the SRPD. I find too many times on the other side, as a listing agent, my buyers are dealing with sellers that haven't filled out their SRPD or haven't done it correctly. So it's super important that that gets done correctly. In our group, it's always important, and we always make sure it gets done early. We don't like to wait to the last minute. So it's good to have it ahead of time and make sure you have an agent that's going to walk you through how to do that properly. There's supplemental documentation you're going to have to dig up possibly, because if you disclose that you had any past water damage or any construction defects or anything like that, is going to require for you to do it properly, supplemental documentation. So SRPD, super duper important because it can make or break your deal. Buyers cancel over it. It is a contingency item. I don't think a lot of people realize that that is one of your first contingencies to clear, is the seller to approve the SRPD. Needs to be delivered right away, within a day of an accepted contract. And then moving on from there, it's very important that the seller understands another contingency to remove is your residential HOA resale package. So that package now is required within 2 days of an accepted contract. Used to give more time to order it, and now they've tightened it up. It's 2 days. I don't think a lot of people realize that. A lot of sellers sometimes have a hard time paying for it. They tell me they don't want to pay for it until they know the appraisal came in or inspections are finished. But that's basically breaching your contract, and you don't want to do that. Okay, so breaching your contract, another reason why your deal can fall apart. Another reason why you don't want to do it is because it's super duper important to remove the contingency. Because I find that this is probably one of the #1 reasons why a buyer might have buyer's remorse, or they're not happy about some other part in the transaction. So maybe they agreed to pay more for appraisal on your property, right? I'll pay up to $5,000 or $10,000 more if we had multiple offers. I find this happens quite a bit. And then the buyer has buyer remorse later on, and they use the resale package to cancel, because they can just cancel over anything in it. They have to approve all the documentation in there, and they don't have to give a reason. So you don't want to give them that extra contingency out clause. So definitely order it immediately, get it. It takes 10 days to deliver it. It's still going to be going through the same cycle pretty much as maybe inspections. So inspections, another area, another contingency, super important, that a seller can make sure that their house is in functioning working order. Make sure all your mechanical systems are operating well. Make sure the landscaping, the bubbler drip system is operating well. The less things that they find in the inspection, less likely that you're going to have problems with that inspection. Hire a realtor that's actually going to attend the inspection. I always try to attend my inspections. I actually get a lot of inspectors that are shocked that there's a realtor there. I just had a situation where I was at another inspection for my seller, and the inspector was in the business 4 years now, and said I was the first realtor that ever showed up, listing agent, for an inspection. He was just totally shocked. And I was like, no, that's pretty common. I always do this. I want to see firsthand if there's anything you're finding that I can better explain to my client. I want to make sure if there's something that you don't know how to operate, that I can show you how to turn it on. So those things are really important, because I can cut down on the amount of items that are going to show up on an inspection, or do a better job in negotiating those items. So it's really important that the seller, A, tries to give me a house that mechanical systems are running properly, you know, the sprinkler system, irrigation system, those kind of things. The next thing is hire a realtor that's going to go with you to the closing, okay? And then is going to also require a final walkthrough of the property. You don't need to necessarily attend the final walkthrough, but again, maybe, you know, your realtor being there on your, you know, behalf can be important as well. And then at the closing table, sometimes things happen. There's misunderstandings. Title escrow companies can make mistakes. The other side of the transaction on the buyer side can make mistakes. And if we're there, we can get them resolved quickly. It reduces the amount of stress. So I always attend my final closings, and I like to give great customer service. It's all about having a great team behind me, excellent systems, and giving excellent customer service so that my client can have a smooth transaction. And with my seller's cooperation, then we really have a great successful transaction. Feel free to give me a call with any questions that you may have. It's Dulcie Crawford at the Dulcie Crawford Group.